Are you ready? I am. Let's do it. Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm John Zidar, also known as the Stock Wizard to a few. This is On Top and Hot, where we like to discuss hot penny stocks. And today we're going to be looking at some that you, the viewers, have given me. Got a bunch of them already done. Did the DD earlier. You got them to me earlier, so we got them ready for the show. We should have time. We should to look at a few extras. Drop them down there in the comments for me. We'll get to them maybe. We do have a little problem here today. I forgot to take a pee before I jumped into this. So let's see how well my bladder is working. Also, I want to mention, I know I didn't have a video yesterday. I don't know if a lot of you know it, but I'm having to move. The house I'm in is being bought by somebody else. Someone else is getting it. So I got to go. And yesterday I had a chance to look at another place. I've looked at a few, got one that's okay. Yesterday's, the house was okay. Kitchen a little rough, but the neighborhood, no. No. Not my kind of neighborhood at all. That's why it was cheap, right? All right, folks. We've got about an hour to an hour and a half to do some due diligence. So let's pay attention. I'm only going to do this once, but it is recorded, so you can watch it over and over. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I see I got my gang here, and for some reason, Velmore didn't want to give me a ticker today. She just wanted to watch. I guess she was feeling a little bit of pressure, always having a spot in the show since I started it. Thank you, girl. I appreciate that. All right, let's jump on into this, folks. I've got everything all set up. Yes, looking good. Okie dokie. So we are going to start off with CDXS, which came from Mark Ryan. He's normally number 2 behind Velmore. She was gracious today, so Mark got in there. She was looking for him too. Thanks, Mark. This is Codexis. I don't know how to say that. Codexis. Let's just call it Codex. This is Codex. It is a therapeutics manufacturing company. They had very strong daily volume today. CDXS, Codex. This is a company out of California. Finished today at about $1.68, up 32%. That was a jump of 41 cents. Now, this is a hot penny stock on the major exchange, the NASDAQ, which gives you benefits over the penny stocks on the OTC. First off, there's no transaction fees. You can buy in and sell off as often as you want and not have to pay anything extra. Every time you do it on the OTC, you got to pay. You also get to trade these pre-market aftermarket. Never get to do that with OTC. And some of the biggest gains you'll ever make happen in these periods of time because there are no halts for volatility. So when a stock starts to run, it just runs until it runs out of gas. There's also a lot more money and a lot more volume up on the major exchange, which as day traders or any trader, that's what you're looking for. And there's a lot more rules. All those rules are for the companies, keeps them honest, keeps our investments safe. So what is this company about? Well, we don't have a description here, and what I told you doesn't tell you a whole lot. Oh, come on. I did have something highlighted here. All right, we're going to jump into this one. I do believe this is the one because we're looking at catalysts. We're not doing deep dives here, and we're not going all the way through the information, right? So you're going to have to follow behind me. I may miss something. I may actually get something wrong. I do that. Trust me. I watch these back. It's like, oh, my God, how many people caught that? I'm human. I make mistakes. All right, let's see if my goodness gracious, trying to get this all up, and it should be highlighted for me, but it's not coming up highlighted. All right, whoa, maybe it did. Yeah, there we go. We're cooking with Crisco now. All right, looking down here at the description of the company. Codex is a leading provider of enzymatic solutions for efficient and scalable therapeutics manufacturing, leveraging its proprietary Code Evolver technology platform to discover, develop, and enhance novel high-performance enzymes. Codex enzymes solve for real-world challenges associated with small molecule pharmaceutical manufacturing and nucleic synthesis. I'm glad we're not doing a deep dive. I don't know what I just read there. We'll let you figure that out. But you can see they're working with enzymes. That's their primary thing here. Now, this is the most recent piece of news that came out, talks about everything that they plan on, everything that they've done, how much money they've made. There's a lot of information here. We're not going to go through all of it, but I've bulleted a whole bunch of decent things. Q4 revenue was $38.9 million, a total of $70 million for the first year ended December 31st. I think that was a 15% increase in their revenues. They ended the year with $78 million in cash. That is enough cash to carry them through 2027. So we shouldn't have to worry about any public offerings. Shouldn't have to. But that doesn't mean new investors can't come on board and they issue new shares to them. And the share structure still climbs, even though they're not doing any public offerings. The company is engaging with over 40 companies on 55 potential opportunities, including existing and new customers. They just signed a lease on their new GMP facility. They signed an agreement with Axo Labs, their third CDMO partnership, and they are preparing to support commercial launch of 2 pharma biocatalyst products following successful phase 3 data. Phase 3 is the best. You get out of that, it means you're going on the market. Just a little bit of time, get your license, and you're out there. And that's what we're looking for with pharmaceutical companies, to get their drugs on the market. They are expanding their relationships with their CDMO partners. They are seeking to sign a license deal with a major pharmaceutical company in the second half of 2026. Total revenues had increased by 19%, not 15%. Product gross margin was increased by 64%. So there's a lot of good news there. There's probably a lot more. There's probably some bad mixed in there somewhere, but I didn't see it off the top of my head, so I'm not going to look for it. So taking a look at the, well, let's see if there's any other news there. I don't believe there was. Well, we're not going to dive into that. The company signs an agreement to manufacture 50 grams Sirna using its eco-synthesis manufacturing platform. So they've got another deal on the table. So they've got a lot going on right now. It's worth some due diligence. Let's take a look at what they did for relative volume. They're up. They jumped from about 1.47 over the last 30 days as an average. Today, we did about 39 million. Share structure for CDXS, we got about 90 million outstanding. No clue what the insiders own, so I don't know what the float is. We could probably jump over to Stock Titan and they would tell us, but I can tell you this much. It's not going to be over the outstanding share count and could be considerably less depending on how many shares the insiders own. Taking a look at the financials, hey, they're already making money, but they were making twice as much 4 years ago. Well, 4 years ago, 2022, they were making 140 million. Now we're doing 70 million. And look at the profit margin. They had 100 million that they kept there. We're keeping 61 million here. They've got a real strong profit margin. Like they said, 64%. Quarterlies. They're all over the place. Every single month is different, or every single quarter is different than the quarter before. But we have got strong profit margins down here. So we are in the black across the board. Balance sheet, remembering those 3 zeros across any of the numbers on any of these charts. Cash and cash equivalents, I think of it as the bank. We got about 51 million in the bank. 147 in total assets. Total liabilities, we're down there at 97. So we are holding positive stockholder equity in this company of about 50 million. Isn't bad. Disclosures. I've been having the same problem. The disclosures aren't coming up fast enough for me over here. So what we'll do is we'll just take a quick glance. Since we get blurbs over here at Stock Titan, they will actually tell you what's going on inside these filings. So you don't have to jump in every single one of them and read. All right, so what do we got? We do have 90 million shares outstanding, no float. So here's our news on the left-hand side, and here are our filings. Most recent one came out yesterday. The company doubles down on eco-synthesis platform. The company grows 2025 revenues and trims losses and secures a $37 million Merck deal. There's another deal on the table. Goodness. Lawrence Litton holds 4.5 million shares of the company's stock, and the company is selling some shares, right? They had about 3 or 4 Form 4s Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders, the management normally, acquire or dispose of the company stock. And they can do that in a lot of ways. Well, all of these were sales, which is always a concern, but all of them were for tax purposes. Most of these companies just pay their taxes by selling off some of their shares. So it was no big concern. So that's what's going on with CDXS. Lots of deals. Revenues are picking back up. They've got new products that are coming on the market. A lot to consider. So let's take a look at the chart for CDXS. I've already got it up. Look at that. Me try to be prepared. All right. No, not 4 hour. Let's go back 1 year. I like to see our trends and get our 52-week high and low. So we got a feel what's going on. So we've got a 52-week high here of 387. The only time she has been over that 200-day MA in the last year. And she was only there very, very briefly. The actual high probably was closer to 240 rather than that poke, but the poke counts. After we hit that, she came down underneath the 200 and fell down to a 52-week low of 96 cents. We hit that at the beginning of the month. And as you can see, we're on a very strong run off of that low bubble. She bounced immediately, at least on the yearly chart, and that's a good thing. There's shoppers out there that look for 52-week low bubbles, and the first thing they do is jump into the fundamentals. And if they can find value, this is undervalued, they'll jump into it. And it won't just jump. It'll climb for a while. Well, this has been climbing for a while and then ripped. So this is looking real good. Lots of volume today. Volume has been picking up over the last 20 days. And all of our oscillators are hot. Everything is pushing up very, very strong. Coming down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. Basically looks the same. There's 387 falling down. We are tagging the 200 a few times on our 4-hour chart. And we are already well over that 200-day MA, which is now totally flat. It was falling here. It went flat here. We broke out when it went flat, and she is just now starting to turn up. First golden cross with our 20-day MA. Here comes our 50 and our 200 haul. Every one of those crosses, it gives a little extra juice to the price for climbing. Oscillators, everything is still hot and pushing up. Looking good on our 4-hour chart. 1 hour, we were in a downtrend down to that low bubble, and it was an instant bounce. Look at that, folks. Instant bounce. That tells me this stock has value. As we saw, $50 million in stockholder equity for a penny stock. Off of that low, she went directly to and through that 200. Stayed up there. Bounced off it and took off. Now, she did go sideways the whole day, but it was only one bounce off that 200, and she launched from $1.21 up to $1.99. And as you can see, I'm using my Fibonacci now. I took the high and I came down to where this run started and I dropped that in there. These are my supports and resistances so that I don't have to go all the way back on the chart and start looking for historical price points to draw my lines. And even though these aren't attached to any historical price point, they work. I can trust them. The price respects them. They work. Fibonacci is a magic science that nobody can explain, including me. It works in a lot of different arenas and sectors, including the financial world. So as you can see, she hit the top there, came back down to our 20-day, bounced on the 20, broke our 100% fib line right here. When you break that, you normally get a lot of juice to push up here. That was our first break. I wouldn't expect it on the first break. She's come all the way back down, and we are just on the 50% line, it looks like to me, which is a perfect place to be sitting. 5-day, 5-minute. We're above the 50% mark. Your 50% mark is your halfway point, right? That's 50% up, 50% down. If the price makes a big climb and comes down and stays above the 50, we bounced on our 38, which is the launch for a jump. We got to launch off of it. Get onto the 50, you start to climb. She is now hovering over the 50, but really she's up here at the 61%. But we've got a 200-day haul coming down. That 200 haul, which probably isn't on your chart, that is just as strong as our 200 MA. Has just as much strength, just as much authority, and the price respects it. But the 200 haul, when the price is over it, whenever it turns up, it helps the price to move. The 200 MA don't do that. It don't do anything for the price. Coming down to our 5-day, 5-minute. That was the 15-minute, by the way. Yep, she's going sideways. Everything is sideways. Every single MA is in there. The price is in there. All of our oscillators are going sideways. She's in a decisive mode right now. Now, our 200-day MA has precedence. It is actually starting to fold down, and it looks like she's trying to level off right now. So anything could happen to this stock, up or down. Pre-market, aftermarket could change this thing one direction or the other. It's worth a watch. They've got so much going on. Their revenues are increasing. They're obviously going to have more revenues coming in, and that's what we're looking for. Companies making money, and they've got stockholder equity. So CDXS doesn't look bad to me to be putting on your watch list. Let's get some volume into this picture. Look at that. We had no volume here, a little itty bitty bit. Look how much she ripped. And then we had volume here, just a little, and she ripped. So when volume comes in, she moves fast. So don't dilly-dally. Okay, let's go take a look at another one. Now, we're going to take a look at Trades. That's his last name, Trades. I don't know what his first name is. It keeps changing his first name. And we are going to be taking a look at EONR. Every time I hear that, I think of that donkey with Winnie the Pooh. I don't know. What is that donkey's name? All right. Enor. Enor. What am I going to call this? Yeah, I'm just going to call it Enor or Enor. That's what we're going to call it. This is Eon Resources, which is an upstream energy oil company. Strong daily volume today. And I don't have any other information, so nothing else must be standing out as particularly interesting. So let's see what we've got here. Eon Resources. It's a company out of Texas. Finished the day at $1.32. Up almost 50% today, 48.8%, jumping 43 cents. Another hot penny stock in the major exchange. This one's on the New York Stock Exchange. So let's see what we can get for information about this company. Scroll on down to the description. Eon is an independent upstream energy company focused on maximizing total returns to its shareholders through the development of onshore oil and natural gas properties in a diversified portfolio of long life producing oil and natural gas properties and other energy holdings. And that's really all they tell us here. I'm sure the website will give us more information. All right, this is the most recent piece of news. Since we're here, we'll go ahead and read it. The company locks in hedging with oil price spikes through 2027, stage set for planned production growth. The company is an independent upstream energy company with 20,000 leasehold acres in the Permian Basin. The fields have a total of 750 producing and injection wells producing over 1,000 barrels of oil per day. And as you know, oil is hot. Today, the USO, which is the ETF for oil, was running. I saw it at $118 a barrel. Now, we've noticed that anytime the USO ETF runs up, the big ETFs, the SPY, the Q, the Russell, all come down. They just work that way. And it was hot today. It's running because of the war. Venezuela, Iran, Iraq, they're all involved over there. Arabia, they've all got oil. And they're all piling up their ships over there. I think it's the Red Sea or something, and they can't get this stuff out. Ships are being destroyed. They'll never deliver any more oil. So it is a hot situation right now. Oil is spiking big time. It's hitting all-time highs. Now, they tell us here that the company has, well, if we look over here, just so I can show you, the company increased its hedge position to 60%. They tell us over here they have now increased it to 75%. Now, I'll be honest. I don't know how they're hedging. I don't know what the hedging is. I don't know if they're using securities or options or what the heck they're doing. But they're quite happy with it. We are really pleased to have filled our hedging positions. So we got that going on, whatever it is. The company has taken advantage of oil price spikes in September, January, and February to establish a base level hedging position through the first quarter of 2027. And they talk here about a lot of the details, and they're looking to expand it. Right now, it's for 15 months. They want to kick it out to 24 months, which could be telling you something about oil. These people know oil. That's their business, right? Jumping back to the news. Last piece of news down here at the bottom. Management and directors buy an additional 282,000 shares of the company's Class A common stock for a total of 1.5 million shares bought just in 2025, giving them a total ownership now of 5 million shares in the company. We like to see that. We want to see the company invested in their own company. All right, let's see what we've got here for relative volume. Off the charts for what she's been doing. She's been doing roughly, still kicking up. We just jumped again. She's been doing about 30 million shares a day as an average. Today, she just hit 180 million. What is that? Six times? 6 times their normal volume right there. Keeping in mind, the insiders own 5 million shares. That's what they tell us. We've got an outstanding share count of 50 million. They own 5 million. That gives us the balance, I'm presuming. There could be math somewhere I'm missing, of 45 million. Not a low float, but it's not a high float. Anything under 100 million is okay by me. Market cap, we're at about 41 million. Financials for Eon. Relatively speaking, they've been dropping in revenues. Now, this is interesting. We've gone from 35 million, that was 3-4 years ago, to 19 million. But they get to keep every single dollar they make. Really? They don't pay to get this oil out? Is it all royalties? Do they just make money off of everything everyone's doing? Something like that, because they've got no overhead here. They get to keep it all. Quarterly, well, they had a strong beginning of the year. We were at 7.3 million. They've been between 3.5 and 4.5 million the rest of the quarters here. And again, they're getting to keep every single dollar. You can't cry about that. Balance sheet, we got about $875,000 in the bank, 89 million in assets, 28 million in liabilities, strong stockholder equity of 60 million in this penny stock. And without wasting our time jumping over to the filings here, we'll just go on over to Reliable, Stock Titan. I love Stock Titan. No, I'm not. I was going to say something, but I bit my tongue there, which is rare. I rarely bite my tongue. So let's see what we've got here. Here's our news. And over here is our filings. The company flags non-reliance and plans multi-year restatement. That sounds like something we should read. I'm not going to dive into it, but you may want to consider that. That was back at the end of February. Eon Resources insider trading activity. That's always good to take a look at. Director gained 75,000 shares and awarded 35 RSUs, which is converted to 11 million shares. So he got 35,000 restricted share units. Restricted shares aren't on the market until they become approved. Once they're approved, you can convert them into regular shares, which is what he did. That kicks up the outstanding share count anytime somebody does something like that. So it looks all good here. Obviously, oil is hot. They've done a lot of hedging, whatever the hell that is. It's supposed to be a good thing for them, and it's supposed to be carried out for over a year. So this is all looking good. It is going to need some more due diligence. We don't have time for it. Maybe you do if you're into these sort of companies. Let's go take a look now at EONR. Enor. All righty, let's roll that clock back. Ooh, all right. Oil hasn't been doing a whole lot over the last year. We've had some spikes here and there, but nothing to really get excited about. She's been at an average of about 40 cents to 50 cents for the whole year. Here's our 200-day MA came into the picture, and normally the price will jump to it when it comes on the board. Never even tried. Didn't have any consideration for it. It was quite a few months later, she finally broke over that 200, dipped back up underneath it. And here, probably since the war started, which was February 27th, February 28th, that's when the war began. This is when it started running. She started here at about 38 cents, and now we hit a high of $1.44. Lots of volume since the war began. All of the oscillators are climbing strong like rockets. See what I did there? Coming down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. Really, Nothing going on here. She's trying to do something, but isn't. And in the end, she's right back where she started from. As you can see, I've got a Fibonacci up there. That's when I saw this running. Somebody brought it to my attention. I don't go looking for oil stocks, but somebody brought it to my attention. Again, lots of volume. All of our oscillators are on fire. I mean, they are really pushing up strong right now. Let's come on down to our 20-day 1 hour view. All right, so now we're getting a better look here. Here's our low of 33 cents and our high of $1.44. Now, right here, this, I just made a video on this the other day. This is our money run, folks. This goes from 0 to 100%. When you hit 100%, you got a full charge. Boom, you're fully charged. Now, when you break out over this, and I mean fully break out, a full bar over it, not just break through, break over, get up there and stand on it, jump around it maybe. When you break over this, it will cover this entire spread from the 100% to 161 twice as fast as it takes to cover that. Twice as fast. It'll go straight up there. Now, it may not get all the way to the top, so don't look for it to hit the top. This is a very big spread. It'll give you a lot of money. This one happens to be from $1.34 to $1.60. So if it got close, just close, I would sell, because they do pull back when they get close. So when she got close, I would take that gain, not worry about the little bit we're missing, and take the big stuff we got. Just makes sense. So this is right there at the money run, getting ready to go. When she gets a full bar over this, I'd be looking to get in with the tight stop loss just up underneath that 100% fib. That's one of my favorite plays, the money run. Oscillators are still all climbing. Volume was very strong today, still pushing up, floating on our 9-day. All of the MAs are climbing. Do we have a 200? There it is. 200 is on an incline as well. This is a beautiful chart. 5-day, 5-minute. So we got up on top in here. I'm not quite sure. I must have saw it here. Yep. I saw it when it was here in the middle of the day, and I brought it down to a spot down here. Now, what I may have actually done, and it does look like that, I've got a habit of, and I'll show this to you very quickly. I have a habit of, let me see, activate. I would draw a Fibonacci like there, okay? Right there. I seen the high pre-market. I bring it down to its low. Boom, there's my Fibonacci. Now she ran that money run. Look, and she didn't hit the top, right? She just got close and she pulled back. Well, once she gets up there, this isn't going to do me a whole lot of good anymore. So I release it. I use the same exact one that I've got here, and I just pull it up. And I take it to the second line right here, the 23%. Not the 0. And I lay it on top of where my top was of my 100%. And now that becomes my new Fibonacci. And as you can see, it works. I don't know how this stuff works, folks. I just experiment and try stuff, and it's like, wow. And this is how I get supports and resistances on all-time highs. When you're on a stock that's at its all-time high, there's no supports or resistances to use. You have no targets. How do you have any idea what to shoot for? The Fibonacci does. Fibonacci, if this was an all-time high, we know that this is a target. Even though we've never, ever been there before, that's going to be a target, and a legitimate one we can trust. I'm getting excited, right? Because I love this. Nobody taught it to me. I just figured it out. So everything is looking very strong here. She is still climbing. She has dipped underneath her 200 haul, which is rolling, but I'm thinking right now she's just breathing. She had a big run. She's held way more than 50%, right? We're way up here. That's where she decided to cool off, not down at 50% or 60% at the 100% mark. So she's holding her heat. Everything down here is a little cool. There's a little bit of cooling down, but it's more just like that. Just flat, not doing anything. I'm liking EONR. I'm liking oil. I'm thinking oil is very, very hot, and it's going to be hot for a while. I don't think this war is going to end anytime soon. Forget the fact that it's been going for really thousands of years, but we just sparked it up again, right? So, no, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. EONR. Put it on your watch list. I'm liking this one. How you guys doing over here? I'm glad you're good. I'm always thinking, are they good? You know, we really don't talk. None of us really talk to each other. We just make comments here and there. I would really like to get to know you folks. Let's see, SGN, we're considering it. We've got G-Wave, C-Bus, and we've already got ECOX. I've got ECOX taken care of, Georgia, so don't you worry about that. Moving on to the next stock then. Where are we at? Oh, this is interesting. 2 people asked for Pola. I chose Enor over Pola, but then Pola came back up. So we're going to take a look at Pola. This comes from Underdog. I always ask, do you know who Underdog is? That's Underdog. There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. And it's even in color. Okay. We are looking at Pola, which is Polar Power, a manufacturer and supplier of power generators, renewable energy, and cooling systems. Very super duper strong daily volume today. Very low float. That makes for a combination that is explosive. We should get some ripping on the charts with this. No current news, no current filings. Uh-oh. So let's take a look at Pola. Roll a Pola. Pola Power. Pola Power is from California. Of course they are. Pola finished today at $2.34, up 20.6%, jumping 40 cents. Seems to be the magic number today, 40 cents. They tell us down here that Polar Power designs, manufactures, and sells direct current power generators, renewable energy, and cooling systems in the United States and internationally. And then they go into a bunch of information about it, and we're not going to jump into any of that. Taking a look at the news. We got no news here, right? Taking a look at the disclosures, well, they don't come up over here. So let's just take Pola, and we'll dive on over here to Stock Titan for verification purposes. They must have had something come out in filing, so we should be able to get something. So we've got 2.7 million outstanding share count, super low. I don't know what the float is, but that's can't have a float higher than the outstanding share count. All right, I have been here. A couple of things caught my attention. We've got 2 pieces of news. Old, we got one from November and one from October. The one from November, the company receives a purchase order for mobile electric vehicle fast chargers. And in October, the company receives a military contract to supply compact and lightweight DC generators for mobile application. But those are months ago. Looking at our filings, the most recent one comes from January 30th. Bard Associates trims Polar Power position to 2.9 thousand shares. So somebody is selling off some of their shares, an insider. And the company meeting backs equity plan, pay votes, and auditor. I dove into this because it was a meeting. I always want to know if they're voting on a merger, an acquisition, but more importantly, a reverse stock split. They're not. None of those are on the board, so we don't have any of that to consider. So we've got no news. We've got no filings. Everything is old. Sounds like they're in business doing things. We just haven't had any updates here recently. So let's go see what our relative volume is. Was this the one that had super duper? Must have been the other one. One of these had 1 billion shares, not this one. All right. Well, it is way up there, though, from what she was doing. Look at this. A NASDAQ stock doing 122,000 shares as an average. Folks, that's ridiculous. That's embarrassing. Today, though, she's up there at 35, 36 million. I can't even figure that out real quick. That's a big jump. Share structure, 2.6 million. Don't know what they own. Don't know what our float is, but it's a low, low float. Super low float. So that's a great thing to have. Financials. Pola. They dropped. 2024, they dropped from basically doing 16 million down to 14 million. So they lost 2 million and they lost a lot of profit. 4 or 5 years ago, we were at 3.5 million. We fell all the way down to 700,000, and now we're at 1.3 million. Wow. So that's a big drop in their profit margin right there. Quarterly. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's not looking good at all. All right. So their revenues have been jumping up and down for the last year. We were at 5 million and now we're at 1.2 million. But look at the profit margin. We jumped from 1.5 million, fell, bounced up, and now we're way, way down there. 2.2 million is what we lost, and we only made 1.2 million. So we were paying out $2 basically for every dollar we made. That ain't good business. Balance sheet for the company. Uh-oh. Dang. They've had money in the bank pretty steady here for the last few years, but now we've only got $4,000 in the bank. That's all we got. Total assets, we got 12 million. Total liabilities, 9.5. So we're holding a wee bit of equity here of about 3 million. Now, something I've never ever talked about, but I just want you to see it. These numbers right here, that retained earnings, this is the working capital that they have to work with, that they can go out there and make money with. That's the capital right there. So we got 3 million in stockholder equity. And again, we've already looked at the disclosures, so no need to even check that out. So no catalyst, definitely don't have a catalyst anywhere unless the chart was set up. The chart can be a catalyst all by itself. If it's in a hot place, you know, that's the only way I really look for hot stocks. It's got to have a hot chart first. If it has a hot chart, then I'll look at the filings in the news. But if the chart's not hot, what good is the news of the filings going to do? Yeah, it may heat up the chart, but it may not either. But if you get good news with a hot chart, it's really going to rip. But me, I don't care about the news. All I'm looking for is momentum. Unless you're doing a swing trade, I'm normally doing plays that are happening now. I want to catch something like a hitchhiker. I'm not in a parking lot looking for a ride. I'm on the road where they're traveling fast, and I'm hoping one of them will stop and pick me up. And I'm not going all the way with them. I'm getting out just somewhere down the road, and I don't know how far they're going, and I don't care. I don't worry about that. All I want to get is a little bit down the road. Then I'll grab another car and go a little bit down that road. And I just keep covering the distance a little chunk at a time. So looking at Pola, we got a 1 day, 1 year chart here. Had a big belly roll here, didn't we? For 6 months, she was falling down and then started rolling up. She was there at $1.63 and went up to $5.75. I have no idea what had this thing running. Our 200 is completely flat here and starting to climb. When she started to climb, she started to fall, which started to flatten our 200 back out. She crushed the 200. She's fallen under it, and now we've got a falling 200. Now, I like to see these big breakthroughs. She's putting spikes through there. That's a good thing. We get lots of volume on those days. Anytime she has volume, we get big spikes. Look at this. Every single volume day, we have a spike. So remember that. Right now, she is right at the, yes, we are right at the 200. Actually, could be on top of it just a wee bit. All of our oscillators have turned up. Everything is very strong on our yearly chart. Let's come on down to our 6 month, 4 hour. Looking the same, looking a little closer at what's going on now. You can see we had a solid breakout 4 days ago from that 137 up to that 273. Now, I could use my Fibonacci over here since we're in the ballpark, hitting the very top right there, coming down to the very bottom, the low bubble. There we go. There's my Fibonacci. This is where I'm going to be placing my trades. The price is going to respect them. I can trust them too. So now we've got our lines all drawn. Everything looks good. Coming on down to our 20-day, 1 hour. Going sideways for a long time. Had a strong rip here. Came down. And at the end of the next day, she started her climb. And she's been riding that 20-day MA. She bounces on the 20-day, floats on the 9. And we're still floating on that 9. We've got a red bar here with a wick under it. Who cares? We got a solid bar over it. That's what's important, that solid bar. This is looking fine. Lots of volume today, more volume than any other day in front of it there. All of our oscillators are climbing. Everything is strong. Looking really, really good. 5 day, 5 minute. We got an uptrend for the entire chart. That's a perfect chart. Low bubble in that corner, high bubble in that corner. Who cares what happened in the middle? That's beautiful. We've got an uptrend. Our 200 is climbing. We are bouncing off of, which one is getting the attention? Is it the 50? It is. On our 5 minute chart, it is the 50 that is catching the bounces. She floats on the others, but when she falls, she comes down to that 50 arena and hangs on there. Now, right now, she has broke the 50. We are underneath it. You can see how she likes to hang on that 50 tight. We came underneath it. We hit a strong support. That gave us our push off and bounce. We are now pushing up over the 9-day MA. You can't climb till you're on top of the 9. And she's getting back on top of the 50, which is her strong place. That's where she wants to be. And she could start climbing from here. All of our oscillators took a dip. Everything rolled down and they're all rolling up right now. Looks like she's getting ready to launch. I'm liking Pola, though she has no reason to be running. I don't care. If volume comes in and she starts climbing, that's a good enough reason for me. Okie dokie. We're moving right along here. What time is it? 4:40. Holy cow. I got time to roll one? Okay. I heard somebody laugh there. No, that was a cough. Hey, you can't smoke without me. 4:20. Lucky you. All right. Let's take a look at another one here. Last one I've got the due diligence pre-done on comes from Georgia, Washington. Nice name. Is that your real name? That's a nice name. This is Ecox. Ecox. Never heard of this stock before till Georgia brought it up. Ecox is a growth stage business developer. They help other companies get the most out of their business. This is it. Super duper strong daily volume. This is the one, over 1 billion shares. It couldn't have dropped, so I know it's over 1 billion. Super duper high float, though. I'm not liking that at all. No revenues to talk about, no filings because they're on the OTC. This is Ecox, Eco Innovation Group, based here in the United States, out of California. Finished today at 0014. Really an awesome price to be buying at is down there at that 001 or even 01, because when it goes to 2 cents, you just made 100% gains. If you wait to buy it at 2 cents, you get half as many shares for twice the price. Think about that. Half as many shares at twice the price if you wait to 2 cents or 002. You buy it on 1, it goes to 2 cents, or 002, you made 100%. It goes to 3 cents, you made 200%. You buy it at a nickel, it's got to go all the way to a dime. So these are great prices to be getting entries in, big time. We've got a 47% gain today. She jumped 00045. Not much, but it's enough to give her a 47% gain. This company is on the OTC ID, which used to be called the pink, which is the riskiest area you can buy stocks from. Because there is no validated information down here, we don't get financials audited by a CPA. You get numbers that are given to you by the management. You better trust the management. You don't get any filings whatsoever. The only thing you do get, news, hype. Be careful. They know that's what you got. And since you've got no filings or anything else to back up facts, you don't know what's real. So they could really put out there a strong headline of some miracle drug that's coming out in 3 months, and then something falls apart in 2 months, and you put everything in on it. Don't let the news do that to you. Without filings, take everything with a grain of salt. So Eco Innovation Group works with growth stage businesses to support capital planning, transaction execution, and corporate development initiatives with a focus on practical outcomes. This includes selective advisory engagements designed to help clients navigate inflection points in financing, operations, and public market strategy. They give a lot of advice, so they have no overhead as far as I'm concerned. We shouldn't see them paying anything for the money they make. All they do is talk, blah, blah, blah. Taking a look at the news for Ecox. We got a bunch here. All right. Don't have to read all of these. As I said, they're helping companies build themselves up. Well, that's what you're seeing here. Lots of different companies. Some of them are pretty big projects, $700 million project here. These are all different projects they got going on. And I have no idea how many projects they've got going on. Looking up here at the most recent ones, the company executes a letter of intent to combine with Kepler GTL, developer of patented gas to liquids and sustainable aviation fuel technology. We got a merger here. They didn't use that word, but that's what combined means, merger. Eco Innovation Group announces the signing of definitive agreements with Kepler GTL to establish the public company platform for gas to liquids. I got a little information in here. They tell us that the company has executed definitive agreements to complete its strategic transaction with Kepler GTL Technologies, a developer of proprietary gas to liquids and coal to liquids conversion. ECOX will acquire 100% of the company through a reverse merger share exchange. ECOX will continue as the surviving public company. So after the merger, it's still ECOX. So they're swallowing up the other company, which has some technology to turn gas into liquid and coal into liquid. Well, if you can make milk out of almonds, I guess you can make liquid out of coal. They already make diamonds. Unbelievable. And that last piece of news, I didn't highlight it. Was there a reason? Company announces interview featuring Kepler GTL CEO. So if you want some information, you can jump into this piece of news. There it is right there. You got a link to the full interview. So if you really want to get your due diligence done, do it right there. Looking at the relative volume for ECOX. Look at that, folks. She was doing 183 million shares on the OTC. Today, I'm going to refresh my page, see what this is. Oh my God. Woo! We had a dynamic day on the OTC, and I'm not being facetious. We did 6 billion shares today. Folks, I can't remember. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I've seen it over 5.5 billion. I don't look every single day, but we haven't been back to where we're supposed to be since COVID. We were doing 60 to 70 billion shares a day. Now we're only doing like 2 to 6. So this was a hot day for the OTC. So 12,300 companies, 6 billion shares. This company has been doing an average of 183 million, which is a lot of shares, but they're super duper cheap. You get a lot of shares at this price. Today, they did 1.6 billion shares. I don't care how cheap the stock is. If it's doing 1 billion shares, you need to put it on your watch list and watch it. Share structure for ECOX. Look at that. That's ridiculous. 8.1 billion shares on the market. Now, I'm going to warn you, if this stock keeps climbing, stocks that are in the double zeros, when it is approaching a penny, when it has been hot for 3 or 4 days and is close to a penny, companies are doing reverse stock splits left and right. They're doing them quick because the stock is getting attention. Now they want attention from people who have money. And if they can kick the price up, they can put the stock up here in front of people that do have money and get out of this zone. So I'd be leery of that. I would go over to Google, put in the company's ticker and name, and put in consolidation, reverse stock split. Actually, it's not keywords anymore, right? This is new school. Just ask it. Has this company had any reverse stock splits? And it'll tell you every single one or ones they're about ready to do. It's a great way to do due diligence. They've got the insiders, about 283 million of them, which sounds like a lot, but it ain't. We still got 7.8 billion shares before the reverse stock split. And you know, when they do a reverse stock split, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be huge. So get in, get out, take your gains with this stock until that reverse stock split. I've been through 91 of them, so I do know a wee bit about what I'm talking about here. Market cap, we're at about 5 million. ECOX financials. Uh-oh, what happened there? They were making $95,000 4 years ago, started kicking up, started falling down, and now we're at nothing. Has it changed? Nope, we're not making any money whatsoever. And our balance sheet on the quarterlies. What's with this? $7,000 is in the bank. That's it. $7,000. 471. That's their total assets. Less than $500,000. Oh, and of course, their liabilities are going to be more because you got to pay everybody. And you don't think that they pay the management by the hour, do you? Hell no. These boys are getting $100,000 a year or more, maybe $1 million. You never know what they're getting, but this is where it's coming from. If the company ain't making any money, we're paying them every single month. So we are now holding 1.5, about 1.5 million in deficit for this company. Disclosures for the company. What do we got going on there? I can't remember. This is why I like to highlight, and I want my highlights there when I get there. 4.7 billion. Now look at this. This says it's only 4.7 billion. Now I've got to be honest, this number here is a number I trust more than the OTC. And I hate to say that because the OTC.com site has been my go-to site and I've been trusting it for a long time. But I have found a lot of errors when it comes to outstanding share counts and floats. This one, the AI is looking at all the information. It's looking at all of the financials, and the financials, even the disclosures, they'll tell you how many shares there are. You can go in there and find it. So it says we have 4.7 billion, which is half as many, which is good, which is excellent. It's still a ton of shares, but it's better. And look, we do not have any filings because it's OTC, which is what I said at the beginning. I just forgot. All right. So that takes care of everything here for the company. We have gone through it all, right? Yeah, man. All right, let's get on over here to Think or Swim. Take a look at ECOX. Roll the clock back a year. All right, so then we got a 52-week low here of 0. You're not supposed to see a 0 on an active chart. It doesn't exist. I mean, you can get really close to it, 0.000001. You can get a millionth of a penny next to it, but it doesn't hit 0. So I'm always confused when I see a 0. But you know it was low, right? Off of that 0, she had no place to go but up, and she started to climb. But it was so freaking slow. She didn't get off of 0001 until October, and she ripped. Man, oh man, she ripped all the way up to 0009. That's a 900% run there. And that took 3 days. So you could have got in, got out, got in, got out. That could have been a nice money runner. Then we had another run here. Again, back down to that 0001 up to 0008. 800% run there. Now she's trying to come up a little higher. We're at 0002. This is where she's sitting now, 0002. She comes down to that and bounces, which is where our 200-day MA is. She is actually bouncing off of that perfectly. You can almost count on it. She's broke through her 200. Is that going to be? No, we got no 200s here. Yeah, no 200 haul. I don't think we have a 200 haul there. That's it, right? Yeah, okay. I couldn't tell if that was my 9 or 200. There's my 9 right there. So she is over top of everything, floating on our 9, really strong. Now it says we're at 1.4. which puts our price, let me see, I'll grab a line here, which puts our price up here. Now, our 9-day MA is down here at 0007. That is 100% up. The price is 100% up from where the 9-day MA is. That's too high, folks. It's got to come down. It does not fly. It is not a bird. It's a monkey that climbs, a kangaroo that bounces, but not a bird. So this thing has got to come down. So I would be looking for that, even without looking at the other charts. Oscillators are on fire. Everything going to the moon. Volume is very strong today. Since this eruption back here is when we've had our volume. It got a little null right here, and now it's starting to pump back in, and the bars are getting big. This is definitely one that I think I'm going to watch, and I normally don't watch stocks down this cheap anymore. Let's take a look at our 6-month 4-hour view. Now, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Let me back this up. I got this coming from somewhere. I'm going to go back 5 years. Wow. So this was 10 cents at one point, way back. This is back in 2021. And I've got a line there from where she hit the floor. So really that white line that we're seeing right there, that white line right there was a support she had to break before she had any intention of climbing. That's why I drew that a long time ago. I have no idea when I drew it, but I can tell you that's why I drew it just by looking at it. So you can see here, that line, which was drawn a couple years ago, that line was still active. She was banging her head against it. And when she broke it hard, right? I'm telling you, folks, these supports and resistances never die. She took off there from that 0008 up to 0019, and we have fallen back to 14. As far as I can tell, we may be down low when I get down on a lower chart. Oscillators are cooling off from that 1 bar, but everything was hot right up until that point, and it needed to pull back. You know, it's not crashing, it's just pulling back. That's what it's supposed to do. 5-day, 5-minute. Scraping along, ripping out. Here is our price where we're at right now. She took a dip under it. She came back to it. She's right at it right now. Now, we shouldn't get any trading from us. We can't trade this pre-market, aftermarket. There is no trading, but brokers and market makers can trade it. They like to trade stocks down because I think they short them when they're down and then they bring them back up and make all kinds of money. That's what I'm guessing. I've never figured it out. So right now, she has taken that rip. She's come back down, and I want to see. I'm looking for my 50% mark. I'm going to go from that top bubble, and I'm going right down to that low because that's really where it all started from. And our 50% mark is going to be right here. So we just dropped to the 50. Right here, you can see she was climbing, fell, sat on the 50, rolled on the 20, and climbed. We're back down now. We have fallen to the 50 and bounced back up. We are on the 61. All of our MAs are falling except our 9. That's curving up. I'd watch it right now. She is in a strong place. She's kept more than 50% of her gains. That's optimistic. When you stay above the 50%, there's a stronger likelihood of climbing and continuing on. So she is sitting there nicely. Oscillators took a big drop. They all fell and they're all coming back up right now. Everything has already hit the bottom and starting to roll up. So this is actually looking real good. This may be one to watch at the bell. This may take off. Be very, very careful. Now, you really don't get a whole lot of crazy activity with your OTC stocks the first hour. Your major stocks, boy, you got to be careful that first hour. They used to call it the fool's hour. Not because you're a fool if you trade, but because you could get fooled. The market goes up, 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 and then boom, crashes. Oh, it does that all the time. But now it's only a half hour. It's not an hour anymore. High frequency trading is shorten that down. All right, that covers all the stocks that I had over here. What time is it? Isn't that such a pretty face? Yeah, I like full screen. So what do we got over here? Oh, we got lots of comments. Let's see here. No, we don't. We got one comment. How you doing there on Golden Paths? Good to see you, my buddy. All right, we've got time now. It's only just hitting 5 o'clock, so we can look at a couple of these. You know, I normally go first come, first served. And if I don't do that, someone's going to think I'm being favorite with somebody. I don't even know any of you guys. I don't know Jimmy. I don't know on Golden Path. Chris Vaughn, isn't he an actor? Yeah, I had dinner with him a couple weeks ago. We're going to look at CBUS. How about that? Haven't done any due diligence on it, so we've got nothing prepared, but that's okay. I'm used to doing quick DD. CBUS, is that what we're looking at? CBUS. Yes, this is CBUS Inc. CBUS Inc. is based here in the United States, out of California. Finished today at $3.91, down about 3.5%, falling about 14 cents. Hot penny stock on the major exchange. Well, that's the name of the show, Hot Penny Stocks. So what is this company about? I've got no clue. Uh-oh. Not one of my favorites, a biotech. That means there's going to be a lot of words I can't pronounce and explain. CBUS Global, a biotechnology company, develops plant traits for seed industries worldwide. Oh, that's a little different. It develops and commercializes a proprietary gene editing technology, rapid trait development system that enables the company to introduce customizable, specific, and predictable traits into plants and microorganisms. So you can get more information there. So they're working with genetically altered seeds, which the world's filled with already. I mean, most of our tomatoes have already been altered. You got watermelons now that don't have seeds in them. I mean, there are just so many changes that they've done to seeds genetically. I mean, even marijuana seeds, they have now made them feminine so that there's no chance it can go male, and they start to bud as soon as you have two leaves. It's that big, and a little bud starts to grow as soon as the leaf. And as it grows, all the buds are growing with it. That's not the way it works. You don't get apples growing as soon as the leaves come out. The leaves, the flowers, then the apples. Imagine a tree that started growing apples as soon as the leaves came. That's what they're doing. I'm not sure I like all those sort of changes, especially when they take the seeds out. I live in a community here where we plant a lot of corn and soybeans. You cannot save your own seeds and regrow them. You have to buy seeds every single year. They've made this stuff so that you can't do it on your own anymore. I don't like that either. So let's take a look first at the relative volume for CBUS, just so I don't miss anything going aside. All right, their relative volume is down, way down, and it's been down for a long time. They're doing less than 500,000 shares as a daily average for the last 30 days and today. Share structure for CBUS, we're at about 52 million outstanding as of November. Could be different now. Haven't looked. Don't know what the insiders own. Don't know what the float is, except to say can't be more than 52 million and could be less if the insiders own a lot. Market cap for the company, we're up there at 209 million. Financials for CBUS. Whoa, something drastic happened here. 4 years ago, we were at 5 years ago, whatever. We were at $26 million. In 2022, the COVID, they fell down to $157,000. I mean, oh my God, what a drop is that? Then they came back up to 1.8 million, if you can call that coming up. And now we're at 4.2 million. And they aren't paying anything. Now, it looks to me like there was a change of operations here. They were paying a lot for the look. They lost money. They were paying a lot for what they were making. Now they're not paying anything. Absolutely nothing. Quarterly. The revenues are falling over the last year. We've gone from 1.6 million downhill to 600,000. Again, they're not paying anything for the money they make, so they get to keep every single dollar. That's the one thing I am liking. Balance sheet. Ooh, lots of money in the bank for this penny stock. We got 23 million in the bank, 330 million in assets, 279 million in liabilities. We're holding a whopping $50 million in stockholder equity in CBUS. Taking a look at the news. All right, March 3rd, we had a financial come out. See anything that, no, they're going to be talking to us, right? The results will be given to us March 17th. No heads up there. CBUS partnering with John Innes Centre for UK government's farming innovation program, Precision Breeding Innovative. They farm in the UK? Do they? I guess they grow some basic stuff like anything roots, turnips, potatoes, carrots, anything that grows in the ground, because they got a very short, cool, mild summer. I lived there 10 years. I didn't see a whole lot of things growing. Announces pricing of 20 million public offering. So that was just added. $20 million worth of shares. I don't know what they sold them at, but we said that was the share count as of November. There could have been some changes. There was. They put some more shares in the market, and I have no clue what it is. Though, in saying that, and we got to go over there anyways, let's dive over here to Stock Titan. That's the only place I'll really be able to see the filings. There's our share count now, 67.9 million. News filings. FMR reports 13.9% CBUS stake. Some insider bought more shares. They now own 13% of the company, FMR. Insider added 666,666. Devil worshiper, double devil. At $1.50. $1.50. When did he do that? February 3rd, because we're over $3 right now. So we've got insiders buying. We've got new insiders coming on board. Ryrie Riggs buys 333,000 shares. So lots of insiders are buying shares right now. So that's a real good thing. They know something we don't, right? We don't have a whole lot of news here, but we got a quarterly report coming out, which, if it's good, could cause the stock to run, which would have these people all buying more shares before it rips. That's the way I'm thinking about it. I do believe that covers everything for Cibus. So let us go check out the chart. Rolling it back 2 year. Just out of curiosity, 2 years. 2 years ago, we were at $23. I checked because our 200-day MA was coming out of the sky. I wanted to see how high it was. So 2 years ago, $23, and our 52-week low now is $1.09. Wow, huge drop. I think we can just come on down to our 4-hour chart. So we are still falling here. We're underneath the 200. Had a jump here, jumped from $1.40 to $2.30. Not a bad bounce. Back down to the 200 and then under the 200, hitting a low with it looks like an instant bounce, right? Not just up, but kept on climbing. So the company has shareholder equity. They got shareholder value. 98 cents. We're back up on top of the 200, pushing up to 257. Back down to the 200 with some bear traps. Bear traps is when they push it underneath a strong support or MA like they're doing here on the 200. And you think, oh, it's going down. And you start selling or buying options or whatever the heck. And it doesn't. It comes back up and tricked you. And they do that a lot. Once she came back up, she was serious then. She started pushing from 163 up to 419. We had a lot of rolls in there, but she was on an uphill roll, basically riding on the 20. She was bouncing near the 20, floating on the 9. Here we came underneath everything. I don't know what caused this, but she's come back up strong. She's sitting on top of her 200 haul with a rising 50, rising 200 MA. Everything looks good on the chart. Oscillators are a bit weak. It was a down day. Everything was falling, red volume, so it is turned down right now. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour view. Well, it is a perfect chart, right? We got a low in this corner and a high in this corner going from $1.96 to $4.19. She is, looks like it is the 50 as her primary. Right here, you can see she's really making, she jumped hard over it, lays on it. So it is the 50. So the 50 is the one you want to watch on our 1-hour chart. She does respect the 200 firmly. When she hits it, she really comes off of it hard. She jumped here. She's coming back down. I think she's just doing all of this. I think she's doing all this, folks. I think she's just going to keep rolling uphill the way she's looking. Take a look at our 5-day, 5-minute. All right, now we've been going sideways here for 3 days. We were on a downtrend. We broke that downtrend. We got a rising 200-day MA. She got very strong in the rise. Now we expect to pull back. She did pull back, and she's keeping way more than 50% of her gains. 50% would be somewhere in there. We're way above that. We're still above that, but now we're almost to it. Now, I just guesstimated there. Let me grab my Fibonacci. We'll poke the top, and we'll poke the bottom. Whoa, I was pretty bloody close, right? Pretty bloody close. So I think she's probably going to come down to that 50% mark, but because she is so strong on her longer charts right now, on our short chart here, she has cooled down. I think she was waiting for the 200 to come up. I think this is another one of those bear traps. I think it's just doing that again, coming underneath the 200. I would watch this. Watch for a bounce off the 50%. If she goes under it, I don't think she'll go any lower than the 38 Fibonacci, which is $3.73. And I would firmly expect a bounce off of that. The stock looks strong to me. I expect her to continue climbing. This would be worth putting on your charts, on your watch list. She doesn't need a lot of volume to move. So green volume is really all you need. It doesn't have to be big bars, just green volume. And we had a lot of red today. That be Cibus. And I think I got time to do another one. Watch me forget to push the button. All right. All right. Tell you what I'm going to do. Oh, man. I don't have a coin. I don't have a coin. I was going to flip a coin here between the two of you because I got time for one more. I could do even or odds. I can't do that with myself, can I? All right. We're going to go first come, first served. I hate not getting to everybody, but what am I going to do when I finally get 10,000, a million people, and I got like 200 requests over here? Jeez, oh, Pete's. So I'm going to go with On Golden Paths, On Golden Path Hills. Thank you very much. GWAFV. Sorry there, Jimmy Jean. We're not going to get to SGN. Sorry, friend. All right. Hitting all my buttons. Getting rid of that. Bringing you over here. I'm getting good at this, ain't I? Ain't I? We haven't had a mistake in a long time. So we are now taking a look at, if I can remember what ticker that was. Oh, G-Wave. You know, I remember looking at G-Wave, though I can't remember a bloody thing about it right now. Maybe it'll all come back to me when I see it. G-Wave, Green Wave Technology Solutions. Is this the one that's working with the recycling of metal? I'll have to see. Green Wave Technology, based in Virginia, finished the day at $3.90, up 3.1%, jumping 12% on the NASDAQ. Green Wave Technologies, through its wholly owned subsidiary Empire Services, is a leading operator of 11 metal recycling facilities in Virginia and North Carolina. At these facilities, Empire collects, classifies, and processes raw scrap metal. I mean, it is what you think it is. It's just all this ugly metal from cars and refrigerators all piled up looking like a junkyard with a big claw that grabs it and separates this stuff. And they get precious metals out of there. They get copper out of there. You know, they get a lot of metals and they sell them. That's what they do. That's their business. Steel is one of the world's most recycled products with the ability to be remelted and recast numerous times while offering significant economic and environmental benefits when compared with virgin materials. So that's how they make their money. So starting with the relative volume for G-Wave. Oh, big drop. She was already doing 65,000 shares on the major exchange as a daily average. Today, she did 5.5 thousand shares. Why even bother coming in? You're not getting anything done. Go home. Costing us too much having you here. Holy cow. Share structure for the company. Wow. I had to look at that twice. I got to keep thinking, do I have to add 3 zeros here? That's not right. Folks, we got less than 1 million shares. Now, this was as of November. Anything could have happened between now and then. Maybe we'll see it in the filings. But 1 million shares outstanding, you figure the insiders got to own something. That's going to give us a ridiculous float. Now, I'll tell you what, chances are we're going to see a public offering because there is a minimum criteria up on the major exchange for how many shares you have in the float. There's a minimum criteria for everything. How many shareholders, your price, stockholder equity. I mean, everything. Well, there's a minimum float count, and I thought it was 500,000, but I've also read 1.5. In either case, we're under it. I think they're going to have to do a public offering just to get this up. But if this is still the share count, oh my God, folks, any volume is going to make this bad boy run. Relative. It's getting to that point of time. Yeah. All right. The mouth is not working anymore. 3.2 million market cap. Financials for G-Wave. Well, scrap metal's doing pretty bloody well, isn't it? They were doing 8 million back in 2021, doing 33 million 2024. Quarterlies. Oh, it's getting real good. Year ago, we were at 8 million. They jumped that up to 11 million last quarter. Actually, the quarter before that. The last quarter, they kicked that up another basically 2 million. So they are tearing it up right now. Profit, it's about the same as they did at the beginning of the year with 8 million. They made 3.5. They made 3.5. Oh, well. Balance sheet. Company's got 1.4 million in the bank. 60 million in assets. And 27 in liabilities. That gives us 32 million in stockholder equity. We like that. So it's good business. metal. And you know metal is always coming. There is always metal. There will always be metal. Forever. Forever. Disclosures for D-Wave. Ding, 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 ding. Yep, right there. Verify the share count, right? Less than 1 million shares. And that's updated. That's an updated number. So I don't think we've had a public offering. Ooh, got to get this on your watch list with that few shares. All right. News 29 days ago, Greenwave announces appointment of Chelsea Polano as their new chief officer. Okay. Greenwave announces receipt of staff determination letter from NASDAQ that it will seek a hearing and continued listing. That's all the way back in November. I'm just going to take a real quick peek in here, see what the hell this is about. Non-compliance for NASDAQ listing rule after failing to file their 10Q reports. March 31st and June 30th, it says that they do not have their financials in. Let us check that out over here. OTC? What the hell is that? Well, it's not coming up, is it? Doggone it. Okay, so we've got 2 late financials, and they had to have those taken care of by, well, they had an appeal. Why would you have an appeal? Just give them your bloody financials. All right, let's back this up. So let's see what our filings say here. Rising sales, but deep losses at Greenwave. Uh-oh. That was Q3 2025. That's old. That's old. Isn't that the one they're late on? Q2 and Q3. February, Gregory Castada reports no 13G ownership in Greenwave. Well, who the heck is he? Let me see if I can get that information. I don't like to see an insider. Gregory, there's his name. It's not going to tell us who he is, but he owns nothing now. So I don't know if he's an insider as in management or just an insider, but he don't own nothing now. He's gotten rid of everything he owns. February, what's this? Polano becomes part-time CFO. Well, what do we have over here? CFO. So part-time CFO. And revenues. All right. So February 5th of this year, they tell us that the Q2 financials for last year, the revenues grew. For Q3, the financials that were late last year, the revenues fell. So I'm presuming that these got in and they're still on the board. We have no problem. But I would do a little more diving around just to make sure here. Anything else we need to take a look at here? What? 219. All right, so we've got no news except a new chief financial officer who is only there part-time. So I don't see any catalyst going on right now. We don't see any new business. We don't see any mergers. We don't see any orders. Nothing going on. So if the stock is climbing, I'm going to have to presume that the chart's showing heat. That's the only thing I can think of. G-Wave. Golly, G-Wave. G. All right, G-Wave, going back 1 year, get our trend and our 52-week high and low. That's not what I wanted. Bing. Okay, I don't see any reverse stock splits. Price looks pretty decent. Let me get rid of this guy. Bing. There's a lot of them down there. Why are all of them down there? The price was never even down there. So we got a 52-week high of $36.30. That was back on the 20th of last year. And now we've got a low of $3.29. That came about at the end of February. She's been in a downtrend the entire year. She got close to the 200 a couple times, but never broke through it. Obviously, I was looking at this back in October of last year when she was running. That's why we got our Fibonacci there, but we don't need that anymore. And all them yellow lines are out of there now too. So everything is pretty much level with a downtrend. She's not falling hard or fast. She is actually in between the two 200s, but she is not in any great position. She's very lazy, just laying here underneath the 50 doing nothing. All of our oscillators are just as lazy, everything going sideways. Taking a look at our 6-month 4-hour view. Now we got a high of 34.57. Big rip right here. Once that 200 got close, she took a big fall. She had a dead cat bounce on the 50, laid flat until the 200 gets close. You can't climb until you got something to climb on. We're already on the 50 and she can't fly. So once the 200 got close, we see a big spurt. Hey, I want to jump. Good. Glad to see that. Once it got close enough, she ripped, folks. She went from 675. Oh my God, up to $24. That's a 350% run there, folks. And she came down fast and hard, back up underneath that 200, down to $8. So we were still in a rising position here. So if you totally missed it, you still got some gains. Ultimately, she fell back down and she's just been creeping ever so slowly downhill. We hit a low of 329 about a week ago, and she isn't going anywhere. All of our oscillators are not showing a whole lot of any interest. Look at our 20-day 1 hour. All right, we are at least approaching a breakout zone. We are at 433 20 days ago. We hit this freaky low. Our low here was actually like 330. She was climbing off of that low immediately, right? She came off of that immediately. That's the wrong one. Oh, look at all that. Thank you. Hit this low, came right back up instantly, folks, instantly. Now, when I see a bar go all the way down deep, hit a low bubble, and instantly come back up, I'm 95% sure the stock's going to climb. In my mind, I see a big pogo stick, a big one. And if there were other MAs here and that wick went through the MAs, I would think of it as a foundation for a skyscraper. You got to put a foundation for a skyscraper really deep in the ground if you don't want that thing to tip over. So the deeper it goes, when it comes back up fast, as far as I'm concerned, they're ready to build. Get that skyscraper up. So she came up quick. She's pushed herself up to the 200, which has now gone flat. She is sitting on the 200. All of our MAs are right there together. It is ready to explode right now, folks. She could launch at any moment. So G-Wave, even though I don't see any reason for her to go, news-wise, filings-wise, chart-wise, she's hot. That is a catalyst right there. So I would watch this. I would put this on my watch list. Absolutely. 5-day, 5-minute. All right, she's not doing a lot. Our 200 is rising. It is very slow, but it is rising. She is respecting it. Yes, she did come underneath it with this freak drop. But when she comes underneath it, it's normally as a magnet. She's hanging on to it. This bar here, it's still on the 200. Just because it's down here doesn't mean it's under the 200. Look, it's up here. I think I see it over. You see it under. It's not. It's still on the 200. That's on the 200. So she is respecting this 200 really well. All of our MAs are right there, level and flat. Our 20 has just started to turn up. Our 9 has started to turn up. It's the start of something, and it could be something nice. She could take off. Again, no catalyst except heat on the chart, which is all you need. But if a piece of news comes out, if a filing comes out that's good, this thing is right there where it needs to be to launch. So this is in a really good place to take off if things come together and we get some volume. G-Wave. Golly, G-Wave. What time is it? 5:23. You know, I would love to get to that last one, my friend, but my voice is going, and more than my voice, my brain is starting to sizzle and pop. I think it's because I talk so much and so loud that I put a lot of pressure on myself, and my brain just starts saying, enough, enough. No THC, no nicotine, no caffeine, no oxygen, no food. You can't even swear. You can't even pick your nose. And come to think of it, I have needed a pee. So much going on up here. Folks, that is it for me. We've covered a few stocks here. I'm going to do an update on postings. I'll let everybody know what stocks we covered and what the marks are so you can go right to that stock and see what is going on. I appreciate you being here. We couldn't have a show without you. Yeah, I'm important, but without you, what would I be doing? What I do every day by myself when I make videos, just talking to myself. Hopefully, one of these stocks is one that you're interested in. And if it isn't a stock that caught your attention, maybe something I shared with you on the charts, how to find supports and resistances on all-time highs. I got a video on that. Just put in all-time highs. You can find it. I'll see you next week, folks. Thursdays, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll be here alone, as I always am, doing the best I can. Remember, folks, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See ya. No Home Alone. No, not doing it. No, not today. Oh, God, I didn't even hit the button. I still on?